Why are we here? Okay, it says we're live. I'm going to trust that it's really live. Billy the Goat.
It wasn't me.
How are you?
I'm hot.
Yeah.
It's hot here.
What do you mean by hot, though?
I don't know, like 33 degrees C.
How many degrees F is that?
Oh, I did learn the formula. Is it you add 30 and then, no, do you double it and then add 30? So if it's like 30, what did I say, 33, it would be like 66, 96 Fahrenheit. Is that right?
91.4 degrees.
Wow.
That's... You would hate Texas. I'm pretty sure you would hate Texas.
They say, though, I don't know how true this is, that city heat is different. So, like, if you had, like, we'll just round the numbers of, like, 30 degrees Celsius or 90 degrees Fahrenheit, whatever, in the countryside, I suppose, wouldn't feel the same as it would in a densely populated city. So it's just basically little sort of wimpy city goers complaining about the heat. Like, we got it worse because we live in the city. Poor us. We.
But also, you guys don't have air conditioning everywhere you go.
No.
Yeah. You could just escape it whenever you want.
Yeah, and our buildings or houses weren't designed for heat, really.
Yeah.
So we got that.
Yeah, it's been like 100 here.
And if it's anything like engines, you get problems with heat soak. So fun fact, your engine gets hotter when you shut it down than when it's actually running.
Really?
So you've been driving for a while, you turn off the engine, the next 5-10 minutes, your engine bay is actually getting hotter.
Oh, because it's not circulating.
Correct. You've got no airflow, the fans are off,
Yeah.
the pumps are off. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, Billy, I have a video I want you to see because I need to know exactly what I'm looking at here.
AI.
I hope it's not AI. This chick in this video reminds me of somebody I know. Hold on, let me pull this up. Oop. Because you know what? This is crazy. Hello, Fiona. Good to see you. Contriver, good to see you. Check this out. From my favorite Instagram channel, besides Fiona's, of course. Accuracy in Media, because they're exposing all the DEI policies that are still being perpetuated around America, even though they have been outlawed, strangely, by this administration. Knoxville official pushes to keep DEI moving at the local level. This is city management. Look at this
thing right now. Once it hits a level, and then the mayor will decide what level we have. Of course, she's always, the work hasn't stopped, but we're just cautious.
Many Americans assume that DEI has been banned at all levels of government by an executive order. In fact, DEI is proliferated on the local level with your tax dollars.
As you know, DEI is just not the thing right now.
Oh, yeah.
So, at this point, the city is continuing, as we always have, until we hear something otherwise.
Okay.
The current trend is that, everything is hit the federal level. And as we all know, if it's the federal, it flows down. So
Mm-hmm.
it will eventually come down and react once it hits a level, and then the mayor will decide what level we react. Of course, she's all in. She's created this office.
Oh,
I had the office, and then Louise will come to me.
oh, okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, so because I used to be down the hall, I had this nice office with a nice table to talk with people.
Yeah.
So we are continuing, as I said, waiting to see how the state changes. The state
Gotcha.
makes, and then
Okay.
of course, federal, state, and then local will react at that
Yeah.
point. So that's where we're at.
I'm just happy that there's diversity being considered in the city, and that equity is not, maybe it's not super vocal, because Wilmington was starting to be the same way, but it's still there, and it's,
Yeah, we were very vocal, but everybody's kind of, let's wait and see what happens.
yeah,
So,
that seems to be kind of,
yeah,
that's how
the work hasn't stopped, but we're just cautious.
After we captured this interaction, the state of Tennessee banned DEI initiatives on the local level. But we have no reason to believe this city is in compliance. Take action right now at safe.
What was that?
That was conspiracy. that was naughty stuff, sneaky shenanigans, subversion, whatever, espionage. I don't know if those are the right terms. I'm just sort of throwing it out. But it also kind of proves the point of why it's been, well, I think anyway, of why DEI is being outlawed in the first place. So if we zoom out a little bit, why is DEI being rejected? You don't have to give me particulars, because
Sexist and racist.
because stuff like that, and because it's not doing the things that it was set out to do. It's been misleading people. It's baloney.
Wait. What was it set out to do?
Well, isn't it supposed to be like diverse, equity, inclusion, or pushing towards a more, I suppose, fair and happy kind of society? And has it been doing that? It's
Equitable.
what
Yeah,
did I
like
say?
a outcome.
Yeah, and it's been revealed, maybe I'm wrong, that it's not equitable. It's not having an equal outcome. It's very lopsided. They'll say they're against discrimination or sexism or prejudice.
Yeah.
But proof in the pudding, actually, some might argue they're the most discriminating.
Well, yeah, because they have to be discriminating in order to get the outcome that they desire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because of this sort of contrast in what is being put forward as policy or ideology, as new morals, new beliefs, like how things should be, and the contrast with actually it's not doing this.
Yeah.
This is my sort of theory. This is why DEI is being sort of outlawed and removed and disbanded, because really
it's racist and sexist.
and the thing was probably better before it was introduced. It was pretty more egalitarian before this.
Yeah.
Like because things were based on like meritocracy.
Yeah.
So you got the and that's been like on a federal level being filtered down, as they're saying. Now that woman behind the desk is saying that they're going to continue with the DEI covertly. And they're going to be cautious and watch what happens up above.
Yeah.
So
she did say that.
So they're trying to like skirt around things. They want to keep doing whatever this mysterious thing that they're doing. So we know that on the surf, what they're selling on the surface isn't really what they're actually doing. They're not really being equal. They're not really being inclusive. They're not being fair. They're not being all love and light or whatever. So they're up to some other. They're up to no good.
Yeah.
And he's basically saying, well, we're going to continue being up to no good. We're going to fly underneath the radar, and we're going to be cautious because we want to know what's happening above us so that we can maneuver around it, which further proves that the brochure of DEI is bogus. Because if she truly believed in the values of what DEI is putting forward, then why is it they're going underground?
Right.
They should be saying like they should be standing on their beliefs and their principles and being like they'd be openly saying like, okay, we're going to follow what the laws are saying. I suppose, we have to abide by the laws, but we don't agree with them.
Mm-hmm.
We still stand for our DEI beliefs or policies or values, but they're not doing that.
Mm-mm.
So she's masking the more, I suppose, truer motivations of what DEI, the scheme,
Mm-hmm.
provides. So what I'm saying is like DEI is like a cloak or a smoke screen. It's the brochure, it's the cover, but there's something else that it actually facilitates, and we can speculate what that might be. Like actual discrimination, actual selectivism, is that a word? Whatever, prejudice and things like that. But they don't want to come out and say that directly, so they're beating about the bush, and they want to continue it because they feel that, and they probably want to continue it because they are in a position where they can utilize it as well. So they see advantages of, because they can take advantage under the canopy of DEI. They get perks.
Oh yeah.
She gets an office. She gets to talk to people.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to lose her position. So she sees DEI as a not the principle of the founding values of what DEI is supposed to be. She sees the lucrative benefit of what DEI provides her on a personal basis.
Mm-hmm.
So she doesn't want to lose that. So she supports DEI, but she can't come out and quite say it explicitly. So she's trying to get away from being detected about the things that she shouldn't really be getting away with.
Yeah.
So if you work backwards and unpack this, she's almost admitting, in a roundabout way, in a long-winded way of me saying so, she's almost admitting that she's taking the piss. And she wants to continue taking the piss.
Yeah, she's assistant purchasing agent, City of Knoxville, Tennessee. So do you think an assistant purchasing agent would have anybody under her? Because she did mention how she had somebody working under her in this DEI office. What does an assistant purchasing agent even do?
It almost sounds like a made-up title, assistant purchasing agent. I mean, it's like it's almost like a housewife's dream. Like, the jokes they make about a woman spending the man's money, and then you got an assistant helping you to spend the money. Oh yeah, help me buy. I just tell you I want some handbags. You go out there and just buy all the handbags for me and bring them to me.
Yeah. I'm looking up assistant purchasing agent in the city of College Station. City of College Station does not use the specific title assistant purchasing agent. Instead, the city's procurement and fiscal operations are handled by the purchasing division under the leadership of purchasing manager, supported by staff including a purchasing assistant. Okay, so she's the assistant to the purchasing manager. Huh.
It's, I don't know, these titles and layers and
Yeah.
loading it to other people, to me sounds like a way of hiding the bread trail.
Right.
It's a little bit like what politics does. It's like, so if you're trying, or no, it's like a little bit like customer services. You know, like you got a complaint, you phone up and they just pass the bucket. You know,
Everywhere they just pass the buck.
so then accountability gets lost. No one can get into trouble because you're always deferring it to someone else.
Google said the assistant purchasing agent for the city of Knoxville is James McKean. Maybe she got fired. Uh-oh. Billy lost connection. You there?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, my tab crashed.
Oh.
I might have bad connection, so I might have it again. So if I drop out,
Well, so when we were chatting backstage, you roboted a few times and froze up a few times. I was wondering if that was going to be an issue.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I have got a few different programs open, so I don't know. It could be my computer getting old. It could be my computer a bit overworked or whatever, loaded with programs open. It could also be the heat weather.
Yeah.
Or it could also be because we're talking about DEI and they're trying to shut me down.
They are. I bet that's exactly. Uh-oh. Anton Chigurh said ex-Cambridge professor found dead after plagiarism scandal led to abrupt resignation. Jason Arde, a tragic result of DEI insanity. Huh. Well, I didn't like how sneaky this lady is. And I don't like how, like, her job for the city, she gets paid taxpayer money. Like,
what I find kind of remarkable is how sort of brazen they are.
Yeah, look at her.
And there's a flare, an air of
Arrogance.
and smugness.
Yeah. The lack of accountability thing.
And she feels kind of safe as well. Like she has no problem sort of, I mean, yes, she's kind of like tiptoey, beating about the bush a little bit, not that much. She's not being that kind
Not at all.
not that sort of innuendo sort of thing, you know. But yeah, she you would think if someone, I mean, it almost causes a bit of like a sort of self-doubt, because like if someone is trying to be manipulative, they're trying to be sneaky, they're trying to evade detection and stuff like this, you wouldn't then expect, you wouldn't then think that they would have the audacity to sort of almost gloat about it in the comfort of their own office. But then maybe that's because of the level of sort of arrogance and a few elements of like self-importance, believe that she's too smart and intelligent to be caught out. They're not gonna the higher ups, the federal could make these laws, but she's managed to evade getting reprimanded so far, so she doesn't see it ever coming to an end.
I bet the city of College Station and the city of Bryan both are supporting bullshit just like this.
They must be to some extent, because if there was a hard cut of funding,
Yeah.
then they'd be shut down. That she wouldn't have an office. That she'll be in a broom cupboard.
Well, I just read that she works alongside the guy. Because first, when I searched City of Knoxville purchasing assistant purchasing agent, it gave me a man's name, James McKeon. And then I searched her name, and it's like, oh, well, she works alongside him and her core responsibilities. Let's see, the office utilizes multiple assistant agents. Pamela Cotham uniquely specializes in the city's diversity initiative. Supplier outreach program. She serves as the manager and primary point of contact for the City of Knoxville Supplier Outreach Program. Small and diversity business support. She oversees efforts to help small, minority-owned, female-owned, and service-disabled, veteran-owned businesses successfully bid on municipal projects. Event coordination. She organizes major local vendor events, including the city's annual Business Opportunity Breakfast. So if you need help finding her office's diversity business certification requirements or details on upcoming vendor breakfasts, please let me know. So the internet says she's still doing it, so I don't know.
One of the things, not one, it's actually a plethora, or it's like anything that would aid and support, they're going to utilize it. But what I think a lot of these kind of these mentally inclined people like to do is try and make themselves a bit indispensable. So they use abstraction and vagueness, obscurity, to their advantage. Dr. Fiona mentions that rules don't apply to them, but that doesn't mean they're not aware of the rules. So they will hold you to your rules. And
right.
there is a difference here, because you expect them to be living, and we all kind of do this to some extent anyway, by accident, where like we'll have our sense of justice or being courteous or conscientiousness, and we kind of project and assume that the other person must be on the same sort of wavelength and that they follow the same rules and follow the same boundaries and parameters as us, but they're not, as Dr. Fiona was mentioning. So a very clear contrast here will be like, we expect them to follow reality,
right?
But they're not. They're in their own sort of fantasy, and that's hard to sort of.
I would argue that they're following their own reality as well, because in their lived experience, nobody ever actually holds them accountable. So why would they believe that it would ever happen?
So the subjective reality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So my truth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make it the truth. So.
Well, is it the truth?
But the point I'm making is that we all have expectations. So we expect them to be truthful, for example. We expect them to follow the rules. And they'll say, yes, we follow the rules, but obviously they don't.
Right.
So, but
But
if
if-
you suddenly break the rules, they're going to come down on you like a ton of bricks. You know, they'll be screaming bloody murder kind of thing.
Right, right.
So,
but who comes down on them like a ton of bricks? Ever.
Now this is the thing, right? And this is what this is one of the many layers of protection that they're leveraging. So get themselves into a position where they believe they can appear at least indispensable. It's a niche, right? Oh, you can't fire me because there's no one else I can fill in this job allocation. So, well, what's the job allocation? Well, I am the tea leaf reader. There's no other sort of tea leaf reader here, so you can't get rid of me. You know, so they make up some kind of obscure title because then they're the only one and only specialist in that so-called title. And then they're using the rules and boundaries, policies, parameters, the way structure is formed. They're leveraging that. They're leveraging guilt. You can't hold them accountable because, well, one, we mentioned it earlier, they could defer it and be like, oh, that's not my, don't get mad with me. You need to take your grievance up with so-and-so instead. Or talk to my secretary. So they kind of, I don't know if you have this term, like fob. You get fobbed off.
Fobbed off?
It might be an English sort of slang. Yeah, you get fobbed off. It's kind of like you get shunned. You get like pass the bucket. You get deferred.
Yeah.
So, and then they might try. There's pretty much any. I mean, if shiny, like, oh look, shiny, you know, would you like shiny? If that worked on you, they'll do that. You know, like, oh, don't talk to me right now. It's I'm having a bad day, or you know. So if they might have a meltdown, but like they might even appear to be off the handle, like a firecracker, like a wild card, like if you upset me, I'll don't make me unleash my borderline, you know. so they kind of give you a threat of like, don't hold me accountable because I might become I have emotional meltdown.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be my fault, that'd be your fault. And so a lot of these tricks actually, although they originate from the manipulator, they're very heavily dependent on the person on the other end.
Yeah.
So the reason why they're not held accountable is because the person that's supposed to be holding them accountable backs off.
Right. And I see that a lot.
So otherwise we call that maybe enabling. So you might get enabling, but you might get intimidation and they back off. So you get a fawning response. But so however which way, the method almost doesn't matter. The objective is to avoid accountability, avoid detection, maybe, you know. You got to kind of reduce it down to like core either emotional or motivational drivers or directives. Like what is that sort of key buzzword that's describing the behavior that is being outputted. So in that sense, because we're kind of going for the core label, it then means it doesn't really matter how it's being expressed, whether they're using childish tactics, whether they're using passive aggression, whether they're using overt aggression, whether they're getting violent, whether they're triangulating, whether they're trying to isolate with a smear campaign. It doesn't really matter. You can, and that's another sort of thing, is because if you're not careful, you'll get lost in the details.
Yes.
And then, so remember, they're leveraging obscurity. They want the ability to maneuver and have flexibility and evade capture. So if you're getting lost in the details, trying to psychoanalyze them, that's wonderful from their point of view, because it's like, ha ha ha, you'll never catch me then.
Yeah.
While
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
guessing of a narcissist or a psychopath or a borderline,
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter. I've already gotten away with it.
Yeah.
I'll get away with it again too if it wasn't for those pesky goats.
The pesky goats. You know what, too? And it doesn't really matter what they are or what combination of crazy bitch cocktail that they're fucking exuding at any given moment.
No. And that's why I sort of said earlier, like with that woman behind the desk, is that something like you can kind of summarize it as like,
oh yeah,
like don't listen to the words, but don't get caught up or distracted by the surface level of what's being said. The particular, you want to listen to the subtext. You want the double talk.
I mean, just looking at her body language while she's talking.
Yeah, you put all this stuff together, like the framing, the person she's talking to as well.
Yeah.
How she's her what do you call it? The sort of the melody, the tones,
the cadence.
The cadence. There we go. The cadence. I was going to use.
I got that from Lowe's. They use that language a lot. Yeah. You got to follow a cadence.
Because when she first started speaking, the first thing that jumped to me was a preacher.
Mm.
I didn't want to be too stereotypical, but she almost sounded like she had a kind of preacher's giving a sermon.
Yeah.
But you put all these sort of bits together, you see past the superficial, and you might not have the words necessarily to describe what you're picking up on, but you'll probably be clued in first of all on an emotional level. You'll derive to the. It sounds to me like she's taking the piss somewhere here. Yeah, it sounds like she's trying to take advantage, or it sounds like she's trying to recruit, or she's trying to justify. So you kind of you're in the ballpark, and it depends how far you want to get. If you really want to get like pin the tail on the donkey and really kind of, if you're familiar with manipulations and psychology and things like that, yeah, you can be more accurate with what you're seeing. But for the sort of layman, you don't really need to have that pinpoint precision. You just need that kind of gut instinct, almost your intuition, to tell you that something isn't right.
Yeah, it's weird.
And that should really, this is another thing that kind of trips people up in terms of like getting accountability, because that alone should be enough not to do any business with them.
Yes.
But because it's a feeling, and someone tries to ask you, well, explain yourself, and you haven't got the articulation to do it properly, then you might end up having a bit of self-doubt.
Yeah.
So then, as a result, you start to blame yourself. You give them the benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
You give them a free pass.
Too many free passes.
You end up criticizing yourself, and every time that intuition tries to speak up again, and give you a heads up, doing you a favor, really, you end up policing and squashing it down because you're silly with your own gut feelings that our feelings are wishy-washy and we shouldn't really rely on it. We need facts and logic. So this is where logic can be used against you, because you'd be like, oh, logically, she's got this unique position title and she's the only one here in this district that could fill in the roles. She's the only one qualified. So logically speaking, I should shut up and she should carry on. She's got an office. She must be legit. She must be above board. She looks professional. So you can rationalize, you can justify, end up really enabling the person.
Mm-hmm.
You could end up vouching for them.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So so that's just a little kind of jab, not jab, but it's a little just a like logic and facts and truth is all wonderful, but it's not the be all and end all, and it shouldn't be used in isolation either. So we need to pull in all these kind of things. We need to have a more comprehensive, holistic way of processing what it is we're dealing with, and that's the only way you're going to get a kind of clearer understanding or a clearer picture of what's going on. And you might be wrong, so you need. This is why I like have talk to other people, get their input, and then collaborate and
do a little reality testing.
Yeah.
Little perception check in.
And as a kind of like you need to have a bit of like falsifiable, normally like the evidence of falsifiable sort of proof, but disprove, debunk, like could I be, with everything I'm saying, could I be wrong? What if I am wrong? Have I just made some outrageous accusation, or what would be my accountability for saying such a thing? Like, how would it, if what I say is wrong, would it have any impact on that woman and her department and what she's trying to do? So you like reality test and just not role play, but play out the hypothesis, and whatever other hypothesis you might have, and how feasible is it, which makes more sense, which is more realistic, or are we all getting a bit in our fifis and actually everything is fine here and we're being silly, but then if that's the case, why is she being so sneaky and
Right.
so sometimes it's not necessarily the haha I caught you and you got your finger on the trigger. It's a process of deduction or elimination where you get where you derive where you narrow down the scope of truth. So we know it's not aliens, we know it's not AI, we know it's not chemtrails, we know it's not this,
Right.
we know it's, so what is it? Is it cult?
It's not 5G.
Is it is it a cult? Are we looking at
It's a cult. Yeah, it's
Okay.
definitely a
so
cult.
we can we can put like a little pin in that. So okay, we can consider a cult.
Yeah.
Is it a ideology?
Yeah.
Is it a is it an individual going rogue? Or is
No, this is organized.
this right? So
Sisterhood is many people strong.
yeah.
Yes, these cult members that get by on lying, cheating, and stealing
And
are
doing
many
that kind
members
of
strong.
doing that sort of systematic sweep of possibilities
Mm-hmm.
and whittling it down also helps. It's energy and time consuming, which is another kind of leverage that manipulative people like to use. Sovereign citizens, they call it paper terrorism.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so a sovereign citizen will overload the attorneys or the prosecutors with paperwork because they have to go through all that paperwork. So if it creates a bottleneck, their case can't be processed if you've got a stack of paper that you've got to get through.
Yeah.
So the same happens for it's like information overload, so information paralysis. So if you're not too careful, you get, I said already, kind of thing, like you get lost in the details. You can get lost in your analysis. And this is part of, like, especially in like manipulative toxic relationships with like cognitive dissonance, that is like one of the mechanisms that are at play where you're kind of competing with world building. It's like one world is crashing with another world, or realities are clashing, and that's a lot to sort of try and separate or to harmonize. Yeah, because in between, in the place of what's in between, turns out to be another world or reality altogether of its own.
Yeah.
So it's not really so cognitive dissonance is normally described as like two differing ideas, but it's not really two differentiating ideas. There's actually like more than two. You got two extreme polar ends, I suppose, but you got what's in between. That's where you're supposed to be. So
Yeah.
it's like you're focusing on two polar ends, but you're blind. You're not seeing what's in between at all. You're completely blind to it. And the thing is, that's also a bit of an insult to injury, is that the two extreme polar ends aren't real. They're distortions. They're exaggerations.
Yeah.
So you're kind of screwed before you even begun to process what it is you're trying to process. What you're trying to process isn't real, and what you should be processing, you're completely blind to.
Right. You're completely ignoring.
Yeah. So no wonder people get confused.
You know,
but
crazy. Hold on. This is such a side note. Why do, and this is personal. Why don't people I tell things to believe me? Why would they instead come up with their own conclusion about what I'm doing? When I tell people directly and bluntly what I'm doing,
say it isn't
nobody
so.
believes me. They come up with their own radical.
Yeah.
I mean, I get told all the time of everything that I'm not doing, and it seems like a projection. And I tell them what I'm doing, and they're like, "Oh no, you're not. You're doing this." And I'm like, literally didn't do that.
So it's stemming from a projection, first of all. If you took that projection out, then you could say like, well, they don't believe you. Mm-hmm. You've got bias. You've got fallacies. You've got situational. It could be a whole bunch of things. Like maybe they're not even feeling well and they don't want to believe it. Maybe they're a skeptic. Maybe they're cynical. Maybe they're pessimistic. Maybe they're distorted. They've got distorted perceptions. Emotionally unstable. That will help. That will cause. It's kind of like a byproduct. So if they're emotionally unstable, like a byproduct will be just like instability with their perception. So if they're perceiving what you're saying, that might come across with a distortion. So maybe they're insecure. You're triggering insecurity. But all of
I
that,
feel like I try to use as fewer words as humanly possible when I communicate with people. I like to deduce things down to the most basic level. Well, and it's like they can't understand a sentence.
I mean, normally we would say kind of like, keep it simple, stupid, be direct.
Yeah, very.
Some people appreciate it. But the thing is, not all. Some people actually are intimidated by it, and they get taken. They get caught off guard by it. So, unfortunately, some people do prefer a little long-winded, roundabout, softy, sort of like insinuated style of speech rather than direct. Because direct can almost feel like an attack, like you're going for the jugular. You're being too direct with them
every time.
So sometimes they'll say like intentionally try and be a bit, especially with children. Like you've got to break it to them softly. Don't tell them they're a fat bitch and they're gonna fucking die of a heart attack. You got to say, you got to make it sound a bit rosy and chocolates or something. Make it a bit whatever. Make it a bit fluffy.
I'm talking about I deal with adults. I mean, most of them behave like children when they're not getting their way, but.
And that's not. So you say, oh, look, you're talking. You sound childish, or you're behaving like a children. You're behaving like whatever. That doesn't sound like an observational criticism. That just sounds like an insult.
No, I mean, I don't say that to them. These people, I tell them something, And it's like they don't hear it. They come up with their own
Right.
fantasy-based version of what I just said.
Yeah.
And you know what the commonality between all of them is? I think they don't believe me because they're fucking liars. So they just assume I'm lying based on their
yes,
mode of
that's one angle.
operation.
Yeah, that's one angle.
And then just come up with their own conclusion. Like,
So
it's weird.
a lot of what I was saying before is basically defensiveness. It comes under the category of defensiveness. So if they're not really listening to what's being said, and they're neurotic, anxious, they're insecure, they're emotionally unstable, they're misinterpreting, they're seeing distortions, they're hallucinating,
Right.
they're putting words in your mouth, their recollection, they've got gaps in it, they've got poor memory, things like that.
All of them have piss poor memory.
You know,
that's commonality also with liars, Billy.
Points to whatever the kind of it's rude for me to say like dysfunction, but whatever's going on, it's pointing towards a what's this like not well constituted person. They're not well structured. They're not well formed. They're a bit. They're not well defined. So they're a bit loose. They're a bit not just unstable or instable like emotionally, but just in their kind of constitution. They're like a nervous wreck. They're a bit kind of jittery or something. But with what you're describing in particular, like it's almost like they don't hear what you say, right? So if we're talking from if we're talking a narcissistic kind of framework here, no, the narcissist doesn't hear what you say because you don't exist to the narcissist. The narcissist is speaking to themselves. So when you say, so they're expected to hear what they want to hear. The narcissist has written the script. So when you speak up and you actually speak from your actual sense of self, you're like off script. You are like a not necessarily like a ghost, but you're a voice that shouldn't be present, because what the narcissist wants to hear is their own voice coming out of your mouth.
That's why they hate me, because I don't broke their ego.
So a simple analogy, and I'll be sexist with this one. A woman wears a dress and she says, "Does my bum look big in this?"
Yeah.
She wants to hear, "No, honey, you look wonderful," you know. But instead, the man says, "You stop twerking. Your ass is falling out. Oh my god, it's hungry hippo," or whatever. Right? She's not going to really listen to this. I mean, she probably will be like, "Fuck you, I want a divorce. And I want the house, all because you said my ass looks like a hippo." But but be that as it may, she's in the fantasy of like, I'm special, I'm amazing, I look good in a dress, my ass is nice and tight, or whatever it is, you know, perky, it's peaches or something, right? So what she wants from her man's like the puppet, and she's trying to make him. It's like mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all? The queen wants the mirror to say, "You are," and expects the mirror to say, "You are." So the narcissistic woman is expecting the man to say, "You look beautiful. You look wonderful, honey. Your ass is fine." No, your ass doesn't look big. No, your ass doesn't look like the size of Jupiter's moons. And this is where, if he goes against the script of what he's supposed to say, yes, it triggers her, or yes, it would trigger the narcissist. But even then, their recollection of what was said accurately becomes challenging. So they might remember the trigger word of like, you said my ass looks like Jupiter, but they forgot everything else about like hungry hippo and whatever else was described, like twerking and stuff like this. And so when they go to retell their sisterhood, guess what my husband said to me about my dress and my ass? They distort it, exaggerate it, embellish it. So yes, you might recall and say, my ass said my ass was like Jupiter, but he also said it was like every planet it got its own solar system. The light is shining out my ass, and it's its own solar system with gravitational orbits, and all the asteroids and clusters are flying towards it, and I look like I'm constipated, or something. So
I've heard stories recently that were that grandiose and unreasonable.
Yeah. So whatever, to bring it back down to reality with what you're saying. Sorry, I got a bit carried away.
No.
You're telling them something. They're not listening to you.
Yeah.
Instead, they're creating a interaction with themselves.
Yeah.
Sort of based on the dynamics of what's taking place. It's kind of used as like a structure, but it's been recontextualized, restructured, reinterpreted, distorted, and twisted in a way that would serve the ego defenses. So it's not just twisted just for the fun of it because they're bored and goes off into like wacky dacky stuff. There is a functionality. So there is a usage for twisting and distorting perception.
Which is
towards
dodging accountability.
Self-protection, which would be the avoiding accountability, for supply, for
that seems super masturbatory. How do you say that? Masturbatory. For them to like use you like a puppet like that and expect you to
kind of yes. I mean,
it's creepy.
I get a bit kind of, it gets a bit annoying because I say it so often. It's nothing to do with you personally.
Yeah,
it feels like it, and it appears like it, so you're not wrong.
Wanking off in your presence.
Yeah, the thing is, they'll do it not in your presence as well.
Yeah.
So understanding that is one of the keys to going no contact and breaking away from these toxic things. Remember before I said like the problem with trying to hold them accountable isn't necessarily the manipulative person avoiding accountability. It's that the person looking for the accountability gives up on it. It doesn't press forward with it. They back off or whatever. So that's what keeps people trauma bonded to the narcissist. It's not, the narcissist doesn't have chains on you. They haven't tied you up to a lamppost or anything like that. You can walk. This is what's fun. Like people face palm. So you can walk away at any moment.
Yeah.
The narcissist, with their magnetism power, that's keeping you spellbound and locked. It's you that's doing it.
But those people are still getting at least something little tiny out of the exchange.
Oh yeah.
And that's what they're holding on to, that little piece of, this person makes me feel good for a second. Like
so they've got reasons to want to stay, but it doesn't remove the ownership or responsibility of walking away.
Yeah.
Right? You can't say I can't walk away because I'm a helpless victim and I'm spellbound and woe is me, I'm a poor victim. No, if be a bit honest about it, be like you get something out of it. Like and that's why it's an exchange, it's an interaction, it's a relationship of sorts. But in terms of what we're discussing about the sort of
yes, can we say hi to Tom and Penguin? Hello. And Braxton, good to
Braxton
see you.
and Dr. Fiona didn't say hello. I mentioned you, but didn't say hello. And Contriver was here, I think, earlier.
I know, I saw you.
So the narcissist isn't really talking to you as a real person. They're not interested in you as a real person.
Yeah.
They're just taking your outline. They're just taking a printout image of you and having an inner they're externalizing an inner dialogue. So they need someone, something to role play, and it just so happens to be you in that case, in that situation.
In that
So they're not
moment
really
of time.
Sorry?
In that moment of time.
Yeah. And there's no, it almost becomes a bit of a sort of, for them to acknowledge your presence and actually see you for a real person and listen carefully, and and not get not misconstrued intentions, because that'd be something that, like, they might hear something like you say to the narcissist something like, oh, I really enjoy that dress, and they, in their narcissistic distortion way of intentionally misinterpreting it, they'll be like, is she taking a jab? Is she being sarcastic? Is she trying to steal my dress? Is she jealous of me? I bet she's jealous of me. Is she trying to embarrass me? So they're and it's like what you're saying, because they lie to themselves and other people, they assume that you must be lying as well.
I think that's what it is.
Yes, they do, because and that's not limited to just if I lie, therefore everyone else must be lying as well. But it's across the gamut. So it's like, if I'm envious and jealous, then everyone else is envious, because the narcissist is projecting themselves onto everyone else.
Oh yeah.
So if I think I'm grandiose, I bet those other people think they're hot shit. And this is what's kind of funny, because they'll sort of
somebody saying, "Oh, this person's so jelly of me."
Yeah.
I saw that recently. I was like, "Aw."
This is where the hypocrisy and the contradictions and stuff really show, because, and it's kind of funny, because if the narcissist, like, I'll use the grandiosity as an example. I'm going to sneeze. Hold on a second. I can feel it coming. Excuse me. Sorry.
Let's see.
So if the narcissist is feeling very grandiose, they assume that everyone else must also be grandiose. And because the narcissist has no real self awareness, they can't actually, and people say self-awareness very kind of casually, but it's actually quite significant, really. It's very problematic not having self-awareness. But the narcissists can't internalize their own emotions either. They don't know how they feel, so they have to. That's one of the reasons why they need people to process their emotions through other people. So they're not aware that they're feeling grandiose. They don't think they're grandiose. They don't recognize themselves as being grandiose, but they sure as hell see it in other people. So they'll happily point out everyone else's flaws and be like, look at that mofo over there, how big-headed and cocky they are. They think they're so grandiose. They're ego inflation like hot air balloon. And it's kind of like, that's a bit rich coming from you.
Right.
Mr. or Mrs. I will rule the world and everyone will submit in tyranny underneath my feet. Megalomaniac kind of thing. So you get this kind of, it kind of stands out, this hypocrisy.
So the lack of self-awareness, could that be like a really obese woman, like, because their lack of self-awareness, Do you think that's why somebody can end up being like so fat?
It can be one sort of reason, not the only. I mean, body dysmorphia, other mental issues going on, addiction, depression.
Yeah.
You know, financial. They can't afford. I mean, it's a bit of a weak reason, but I've heard people say like for financial reasons they can't eat healthy, so junk food is cheaper or something.
Junk food is expensive.
Yeah, but I don't know how they kind of twist financial reasons as. I suppose they're trying to compare junk food with like premium organic. You know, just like, it doesn't have to be like vegan kind of organic.
Chicken and beans and rice are cheap.
Yeah, kind of tuna, man. Pretty good.
Anything you have to cook is a lot cheaper than the pre-made shit, which they are too lazy to make themselves. So,
Yeah, but so there's
yeah.
lots of reasons why someone might be, and then medication. A lot of medications make people fat. You know, lack of exercise obviously will help, and then there'll be like not necessarily comorbid, but like multiple reasons all going towards whatever this person is going through. So they're not exercising, they're not eating well, they're on pills or medication that makes them fat. They're also depressed.
They're also stuffing their fucking face constantly.
There might be genetics as well. They're constantly stuffing their face. They've got addiction, and
Maybe.
you know.
Well, I had a severely obese woman recently complain about me chewing gum as she's stuffing meat and cheese in her face. I was like, mind blown. That's the kind of lack of self-awareness I'm talking about.
I mean,
it's not like it was a situation where we were sitting with a meal. No.
Maybe your chewing was reminding her of her own chewing, and she was getting upset being reminded. It's almost like you're rubbing the salt into the wound, or you're taking the nick because you're chewing, and she has she feels shame. I'm obviously making a extreme radical from a snippet of information. I don't know this woman. I have no idea what you're really talking about, but I just saying like.
Well, the mental health field.
Yeah.
Psychiatry, Billy.
Yeah.
Ethics. Standards. Who is supposed to hold people in psychiatry accountable? Because they're doctors, right? They have PhDs, right?
Yeah.
They can prescribe medication. How many years does it take to become a doctor in the psychology realm?
I don't know. You've got Dr. Fiona here. You might be better asking her. I don't know. Don't mean to throw you under the bus there, Dr. Fiona.
But
who are they answering? Who holds them accountable? I suppose
them accountable?
There will be there'll be people above, like boards and.
Because I have to have a license to practice, correct?
Yes. Unless we're talking sort of.
You have to have a license to prescribe medication.
Yes. You're supposed to, yes.
You're supposed to?
Who knows what goes on in these industries nowadays, huh? Especially with the advent of social media and online personalities, shall we say.
Well,
like some people, for example, I've never, and I can explicitly never have called myself a psychologist.
Oh, I know.
But some of you guys have.
No, you're an expert in the psychology realm. That's a big
That's it.
difference.
No, like
No, it's not a psychologist.
no, I kind of recoil from hearing things like that because kind of like
Expert in the psychology realm?
I'm just a schmuck.
Uh-huh.
I'm just
Obsessed.
someone who's got I'm about to say like who has a bit too much time on their hands to pondering and going nuts on it.
Uh-huh.
So, but this is actually something kind of alarming. Really, this is a tangent because people's faith in how many times you hear people talking about therapists and psychology and shrinks and they're like or medicines and they're like no they're all quacks and I don't want to have anything to do with them.
Well, most of them are feminists, therefore they're incompetent.
And then
the only ones that are competent are not feminists. Strangely.
And then conversely, people have more faith in a sense, in a way, or that we see a rise in YouTubers like myself, and people asking me for my opinions. So in some circles, I've like got more influence, shall I say, than actual people who have gone through academia and have the qualifications. They'd rather come to me than they'd rather. Maybe it's because they're worried about finances or something, or maybe because they feel like they can contact me easier. But it's a bit of a weird thing to observe, and it's not exactly reassuring either.
Right.
Not to put myself down, but in terms of like you're supposed to have faith or reliability in actual regulated expert fields that are supposed to be there to as services for people.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be reaching out for help on YouTube.
Who says you're not supposed to?
Well, how many times do you watch a YouTube video and there's a disclaimer? Like,
shouldn't people have the freedom to reach out to those who they feel they would actually trust what's being told to them?
Now, there is an element there, and that does tie into the ethics of mental health, which is, I don't know I can't remember how it's phrased, but it's like respecting the client's decision or belief. Like, I don't know if it stems from the idea of like my truth or whatever, but if a client doesn't want to go forward with treatment or they want to do things, they've heard your advice, but they're going to do things, the professionals need to heed, at least, maybe I'm a bit wrong here, someone might correct me, but at least heed just to a large degree, if possible, to the wishes of the client.
Women have a hard time accepting no for an answer, though. Like, I have a friend that during COVID, she got a bunch of pressure from a few of her family members. Not all, about half took the vaccine. She didn't get any pressure from her friends because obviously the friends are who she chooses to share her time with in her life. So they would not be in that category of pressure, right? Some family. Her and her family got COVID. She went and saw her primary care doctor, and her primary female doctor pressured her into a vaccine and manipulated her into getting a vaccine.
Yeah.
After she said no multiple times, like she just kept at it. She was like, "Oh, but so during lockdown, you've gained some weight, and you're really crossing the higher risk because of, borderline obesity," which she wasn't even close to being obese. And then, with that, body shaming her a little bit, And then
Yeah.
telling her, oh, and you don't want to make such a selfish decision by not doing this. You know, you
So
don't want to, just in case you do get COVID
yeah,
and you get the shot, you can
they're
feel
not supposed
better
to be like
knowing
kind.
that you didn't die and leave your 3 sons with your husband to raise by himself. Like bullshit like that.
Yeah, they're not. So you're not supposed to manipulate.
That
But
was insane. And I saw her right after it happened, and she came to my house. She's like, guess what I just did? She
yeah,
told me all about it. She's like, yeah, I'm getting a new doctor, but
yeah.
holy
I mean, that
shit, it
see,
worked.
she might have a case there if she explicitly was like it was against her wishes, you know.
Well, her doctor talked her into it. Her
Yeah, so
doctor
they're not,
talked her into it.
and that's not mental health. That's like
No,
sounds
that's a primary
like
care physician.
yeah.
Yeah.
So across the board, I don't think manipulation would be frowned upon anyway.
That's coercion and that's force.
Yeah. However, there is it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because they are supposed to offer treatment or offer what they believe is helpful or would be beneficial, and push for it. So it's like if you're an alcoholic, or if you're a smoker, or if you're an addict, they'd be like, would you like AA course? Would you like nicotine patches? Would you like therapy for the addiction? In my case, being diabetic, they keep offering me like it's called a Libre. It's like a sensor they stick on your arm. It stays there for 2 weeks, and for as long as I remember, I can't remember, like years now, I say no, I don't want it. I'm happy with doing my finger prick blood tests, but they keep pushing that thing onto me. Every time I go there for an appointment, they're like, "Oh, would you like yours? It's very easy. You could have an app. You could blah 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 blah." And I have to say no, and then they do the, "Oh, why? But why? Why? It'd be so much easier."
Mm-hmm.
And the last time
they wouldn't body shame you and then fearmonger you, right?
I mean, if I brought up a kind of body, like I felt body like, oh, I feel embarrassed because I'll look weird having this sensor stuck to me, then they'll try and do like the reverse body shame. They'll be like, oh no, it looks wonderful. It's very fashionable these days. You know, everyone's got them. No one would even notice it's there.
Yeah.
You know? So they're not going to take no. You can't, at least in my experience, you have to get a bit agitated with them for them to like fuck off and leave me alone, kind of thing, because they're a little bit sort of sales pitchy. Like whatever reason you have, they'll quickly twist it and try and nullify it, so that you've got no excuse not to have whatever it is they're suggesting, until in the end, basically, you lose your temper and just have to be adamant and just be like, no, I've already said no. I don't have to. I've already explained myself. I ain't gonna explain myself any further. I've already been through this with you. Stop it now, kind of thing. But you know, next time I go there, they'll offer it to me again. I know it's coming.
Yeah.
They'll keep doing it. Yeah. And because it's a diabetic doctor, and I say to them something like, well, I don't want a constant remind. Like, I'm already like diabetic 24/7, right? I can't escape it. I don't want a constant remind. Like, it's nice not to have to think about it sometimes. And if I've got this thing stuck to me as a daily reminder, like, it just reminds me. It will just irritate me. That's not a good enough reason in their mind.
Yeah.
So then they're like, "Oh, it sounds like you've got some sort of psychological issue with it. Would you like to see a therapist?" And now you have to go through this whole ordeal of like why you don't want to have to see a therapist, because you don't want to have a sensor stuck to your arm.
Yeah. Yeah.
But from the doctor's point of view, they would not be doing their job if they didn't push this technology or services like a therapist onto me. So they're kind of caught in a sort of double-edged sword there, where it's like they've got to push these things onto.
Are they making a kickback though from the technology?
I don't know. I mean, from my understanding, that this Libre arm sensor thing is expensive stuff.
Yeah.
They're not cheap. I mean, just diabetic needles, insulin, blood strips, and tool belt is already expensive, and then you add this device to it. Yeah. The minute make me feel better about being a diabetic.
Well, ethics. I'm wondering
If you want a real guilt, a real guilt tripping anecdotal story from the doctor, my own testimony, is when they tried to guilt trip me by using driving as a way of getting me to do even more blood tests.
What?
So they're like, because you're supposed to do blood tests before you do driving, right? They don't want you to have your sugars to crash while you're behind the wheel. Makes sense.
Oh, like do it right before you get behind the wheel?
Yeah, but they don't state a time. They just say you've got to do a blood test before you do some driving. So it could be what you talk about, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, an hour. And then the doctor will be like, well, within 2 hours, I suppose within. So it's kind of like, right, so you're just not even giving me a proper time. You just want me to do a blood test before I drive. Well, would it count if I did a blood test the day before? A day before I drive? It's still before I drive. So, I mean, that's being a smart ass, but...
Yeah.
And what's irritating even further is that from the driving agency's point of view, like, they're trying to be safe. They don't want you to have your sugars going low. But if you're someone that doesn't normally have their sugars going low, and if anything, your sugars are actually high,
right,
then you're not really at risk of having a hypo. So when your sugars go low, we call it a hypo low. So you're not at risk of having a hypo. So you're not really a danger. And in some ways, you're actually more safe because there are plenty of people who aren't even aware of being a diabetic, and they're driving around. They're not having blood tests.
right.
So there are some real irritating aspects to my lived experience being a diabetic and a driver. Like, here's a fun fact: if I were to have a hypo while driving, I'm supposed to pull over, take the keys out of the ignition, sit in the passenger seat, and start eating sugar. Right? If I get caught by a police officer as I'm trying to pull over, where in this city there's nowhere to pull over because all the roads are bloody red lined and you're not allowed to pull over. But if a copper was to question me or whatever, I would be done for a drug charge. They would consider me under the influence of drugs, and I would get points on my license, and that would be on my record as basically under the influence of drugs.
What?
Because they don't have a clause that says you're having a hypo. So it's like, well, what do we pin you with? Yeah. So you're intoxicated, you're under the influence of drugs. So I'd get a drugs charge even though I don't take any drugs.
That's crazy. But you live in a prison country.
Yeah. But so the doctor was like, well, you're supposed to do blood tests before you drive, isn't it? And I'm just like, what are you saying, doctor? You're trying to use drive. We're in a doctor's office, and you're trying to use driving as a way of getting blood tests out of me.
Would that be coercive control?
Guilt tripping, coercive control, being an arsehole.
I need to find out where in the law that is.
What, the coercive control?
Yes. It's only in family law currently, correct?
We've got it recognized here as part of it's like the new kind of law or amendments to the law of like domestic abuse or something like that. Domestic
Really?
terror. It's a sort of feminist clause. So they wanted to give mainly they did this to protect the women. So it's like
But
abusive.
that means it's there because that's a woman's favorite weapon.
Yeah, so it's kind of
So
like
just because they project and blame men for it doesn't mean the men can't use it now. If it's in
no,
your law,
yes,
that's amazing.
yeah, and it's kind of like the stuff that is listed out in narcissistic forums. Like, do you recognize any of these signs, like financial abuse, isolation, um, using the kids, alienating yourself from the kids, telling you what to wear, telling you that you can only speak when you're given permission. Are you physical? It's kind of fun. It lists out all this stuff. It's like physical. Back in the day, it'd be like physical abuse is the criteria for domestic abuse sort of thing.
Right.
But now there's so many things where it's like you can't even sneeze without. Isn't it like in Spain they were trying to charge men for farting in the space with women? You know, it's like biological warfare or something. Like,
What?
oh my god, this biological abuse. He farted. He's trying to kill me.
That's
I'm pretty sure it's in Spain.
well, I saw this other thing, Billy. You know this male, I don't know if I ever send you stuff from this male feminist Instagram channel I follow. They pretty much puppet all the things the feminists say. It's nomass.org. And I'm pretty sure I'm the only person that ever comments on any of their posts. But this thing I found interesting. The gender war is real and goes far beyond the web. Supremacist toxicity has leaked into our institutions, culture, policies, and our daily lives, reshaping how men and women relate to each other, how boys are raised and treated, how men view themselves, and how girls and women view their own worth. I thought that was really good. Like, it's pointing to a problem, right? Because that's true. Supremacist toxicity. Now, I automatically think of the feminists, female supremacy, right? What do you think of when you see that? Because I see no misogyny. Like, I don't see the buzzwords that I usually see. It's just supremacist toxicity.
There's I'm trying to think if I think there's a phrase or a term. And there might even be like a fable or a Greek story that describes it. But I think that a lot of this is either like self-perpetuating or self-generating. So yeah, there might have been gender issues,
Right.
but it maybe you could argue that it's just sort of inherent, or we have an ability to allow like a tolerance. I'm not saying it's not to justify it, but we're able to put up with. I'm not saying it's right, but it's like we're able to accommodate a certain amount of serial killers or a certain amount of narcissists or psychopaths, so we can accommodate a certain amount of misogynists or misandrists or gender inequality. But because it's being spoken about and sort of energized, it's feeding into it, and it's become more. it's giving it more credence than it, not necessarily than it deserves, but it's blowing things out of proportion and creating hysteria and creating inequality or toxicity where it wouldn't have been before if it wasn't. It's kind of like the argument they make with sort of like racism. Like, if you want racism to stop, then just stop talking about racism. Isn't that what they say? Something like that?
Yeah, but going back to DEI, I mean, they're perpetuating sexism and racism. I mean,
So-
look at every institution, and it's run all levels of management, besides maybe a few at the top
Yeah,
that are men. Majority of it's women.
but I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, maybe it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, like an intentional one. So they want there to be this war of gender. So how do you have a war of gender? Well, you speak about a war of gender and you bring it to the forefront and make it sound big and escalate it and exaggerate it and make it sound extreme and use buzzwords like toxicity and radicalization and supremacy.
But they're right. I mean, they're right.
Yeah, but it's kind of like,
Supremacist toxicity of the feminist ideology is what I'm thinking about.
but there's also like the optics of it. So how many we might you're going to push back on what I'm going to say here, and it's going to be fair enough. I was going to say, like, we might think the world is full of feminists, but it could be a percentage that just make a lot of noise. Yeah. So it's
Really?
it's like the idea of like narcissist. Everyone's a narcissist.
Yeah.
It's like, well, statistically that can't be true, because statistically, according to what we have, if this is what we're going to go by, it's like between 1% and 4%.
Yeah,
So that's not
true.
everyone.
Says
Well, says the statistic people
okay.
that we're supposed to trust and believe.
Yeah. Okay.
So trust me, bro. Take their word for it. But if we
never.
go with what they're saying
Uh-huh.
and using that as our basis,
They're narcissists, and they're trying to
Yeah.
suppress their real numbers so people are unaware
well,
and
okay,
don't believe they see what
Whatever.
they see.
But the point being made is that that these outliers make a lot of ruckus and make a lot of noise. So there might not be supremacists or right up there, the echelon peak of the mountains. Yeah, there might be more supremacists in the sense of, like, compared to what you are or the average person might be, but depends how you want to define it. So I don't know, like intergalactic supremacist with ray guns. I don't know, but kind of lost the track of what we're talking about here. So the gist is, I think this is a self-fulfilling loop prophecy where and it's hard to tell where the loop begins because it's a loop. So it's like you get people who are already kind of hit with a bit of instability, hysteria, beliefs. They think of toxic masculinity, right? So you've got disgruntled women, and they might be legit, but they victimize other women who don't fit that. So everyone's like, me too, leave all women. They start feeding the algorithms or feeding the headlines or telling their girlfriends that they're a victim too, and they want to be left out, so they come up with some bullshit story about how their husband farted and it sent them whatever, and that was an act of abuse and assault.
Gastric terrorism.
Yeah, I mean, like the claims of rape, like they've all been raped apparently.
Yeah.
And then the false accusations come in, and they get into the headlines, and it becomes like a sort of circular machine that just churns and churns and churns. and probably becomes profitable for some as a result. So this article, I don't know if it's somehow getting, by having it being sensationalized, they get their viewerships up. If they get their viewerships up, they get their ad revenue up. So there could be some sort of money angle behind doing this. I don't know, but I just think that a lot of these things that are brought to the forefront of social crisis now, like environmental issues, it's almost like a battle of virtue. Which one of these problems, these social problems, are we supposed to, like, one at a time, please? Are we supposed to save the women and save the gender inequality or whatever? Are we supposed to save the environment? Are we supposed to save the kittens?
We should focus on, like, men tell me they watch promotions go to less qualified female colleagues under diversity quotas, breeding resentment. We could focus on that. This article is actually interesting. War on motherhood, no consequences. I'm gonna leave this in the chat.
I mean, the kind of more flippant side of me is just like, whatever, man. I think basically we're just, as people, we're just screwed.
Oh, we're not screwed, Billy.
We don't deserve. We don't deserve the right to be so vocal on these matters. Like, focus on your locus of control.
Yeah.
You know, work on your own local networks instead of trying to influence other parts of the world with your bullshit. Like,
I will try to influence every part of the world if it helps.
Sorry, don't take that personally. I wasn't saying like you and your.
No. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try. If it helps people say no to incompetence and quit being cowards and speak the truth to the faces of these crazy bitch diversity hires, because they are, at the end of the day, they're so incompetent. Like, and if men would just stop allowing these women to destroy society, that would just be amazing. Because all they literally have to do is be like, no more. You're not getting all these preferential treatment things. Sorry, we tried. This experiment's failing big time. If the men of our current society stop allowing the women to destroy the patriarchy that the men before them built, I think that would solve a lot of these problems.
I feel like we're letting the genie out the bottle, though. I think guys are a bit more willing to like, this is just my opinion, my subjective view, but we're a bit more willing to cut our losses. Like, men might have, the patriarchy might have built society, but because they've built it, they know they can build again because of that competence. So
yeah,
so they're not so attached. They're almost like, you know what, fuck it. If people aren't going to appreciate it, let it burn, let it fall to pieces. Because at least it's my structure that fell to pieces. I know I can put it back together. You know, like, so once it falls down and you'll fucking die because of you've got no Wi-Fi anymore or something, and you're out of the way, then you know, yes, it's a bit of a hassle. I'll have to rebuild, but
yeah,
I'll be left alone to get on with it, and then I can rebuild it. I know how to put it back together. I could probably do it in half the time I did it the first time.
Yeah, maybe.
But it's the people who are a bit more dependent who are like, no, we must preserve and save and hang on to our institutions. And
See, I feel like that's the camp I'm in, Billy. Because I'm a woman. I don't build things. A woman will join things that are already built.
Yeah.
Women don't build. They just go in and change.
So so from your point of your stance, then it's just like,
Yeah.
so a woman, you need to chill out and just make some sandwiches. It'll be all right.
Yeah. Well, promote more sandwich making. I've been trying to do that. I've been really doing that lately.
That's kind of, maybe I'm speaking out of turn here, but that's sort of a bit of the philosophy for the MGTOWs, or that kind of laid back chilledness aspect. It's sort of like, and it's not like they don't care or they're nihilistic and they just like let the world burn, but along with competence is what was it called? It's like self-sustaining. It's like they can handle being off-grid. They're not too bothered by it. You know, they can minimize and downsize, and they'll be all right. You know, as long as they got their sandwiches and their beers or whatever, their creature comforts.
Yeah.
They're not asking for too much. You know, they don't need to have fuzzy dice hanging in the window, or these spoilt bratish trends that are going around nowadays. You know, maybe they're a bit old fuddy-duddies, a bit stuck in their kind of traditional ways, but that sort of down to earthness about them helps keep them level, level-headed, helps keep them grounded, and competence also instills trust in your own abilities and capabilities. So I don't think men particularly worry too much about society crashing, because in a way their world has already crashed. You know, they're kind of the blue pill dream of family and pair bonding or having kids or being appreciated in society. You know, they've pretty much recognized now that that's over. Like, they're second-class citizens. The world probably wouldn't miss them if they were gone, and it would probably desecrate their graves anyway. So they just want to kind of chill out and mellow out.
Yeah. You know what I think I've learned recently? That men don't really want to be in charge of a bunch of adults that behave like children, especially women.
No, because we don't want the drama and the hysteria and then
I know.
the nagging
I know.
nonsense. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's why I keep talking a load of crap, and then I'll try and summarize it with like a sentence or two, and be like, "We've got to go for the core. What is the one buzzword core motivation driver here? It's defensiveness, right? That's all you need to know. Oh, they're a dick. That's all you need to know. Oh, they're taking the piss. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. So do you think if I get the numbers down to such a small amount of adult children that it would be more enticing to take on leadership roles?
Well, for other people to take on the leadership roles.
Yeah.
To step up.
Yeah.
If there's less children.
Yeah. Less crazy bitch activity that they would have to be in charge of.
It might. I suppose it'll be a bit more. Look at it the other way. So is having a whole bunch of hooligans off-putting, for people applying for leadership? Probably.
Not the ones that are like them.
Well, no, not the
They're
ones that
first in line. The
but-
sisterhood is first in line to go into leadership.
if you want people who are competent and actually serious about doing the job,
Yeah.
and they
None of them, all the competent ones don't want the job. They don't want to do it.
So is that the reason why they don't want to do it? Maybe that's
Oh, that's a big reason. Yeah.
one of the reasons. Yeah.
Oh,
There you
yeah.
go.
Yeah.
So if you got rid of them, would they be more inclined to then apply, put their application in? Maybe so.
Mm.
They might not do it. They might still not do it, but I mean, it might help.
Yeah.
They probably want a salary, a decent wage. You know, you'd have to it's like a package sort of deal thing.
Mm. Well, I'm still working on the numbers. I'm up to 15. 15 less in the environment. And then 2 more were added. Damn it.
There's probably a whole bunch of other factors that we're overlooking here as well. And
Oh yeah, time. You know, the kind of pay that's involved, like to actually move up into a leadership role, like fully, it would be a massive pay cut. Or it would be the same. They'd have to spend twice the amount of time there in the pit of hell. And none of them want to do that. Spend twice the amount of time for the same pay? No, thank you. But I'm also wondering if I can get pieces of responsibilities to divvy out. It's just a little bit, but it's spread across many. That's kind of the direction I've been going in lately. So it's not like one person's all this responsibility. It's like, one person's got this little bit more responsibility and they get this much extra on top of what they already make.
you know, we were talking about at the start of the stream about the DEI.
Yeah.
They got their little scheme going
Yeah.
under the radar.
No, I'm vocal about mine.
Yeah.
I am not under the radar one bit. Everybody, I'm like, yeah. Have you decided to take on some more responsibility yet? No, but you know, the crazy bitches don't really pay attention to me. So that's funny.
Well, yeah, so just like, yeah, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're organizing your own little coup or whatever they call it.
Is it a coup? Is it a mutiny?
Music, yeah.
Is it a revolution? Is it a rebellion? What is it? Is it a distribution of responsibility to the people that rightfully should be taking it? What do you call that?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't know.
Well, I'm so looking forward to this next week. I have like a week off. And I'm going to Dallas to learn some stuff. So I'll be bringing my laptop just in case I feel streamy. Hopefully I'll be too busy, but I have so many questions. Tom said leading normies is exhausting beyond my abilities. That's what I'm saying. Maybe just a piece of it won't be too bad. Oh, we'll see. Well, Billy, I know you're tired. Should we call it a night?
Yes, please.
Yes? Okay.
Me and Tom want sandwiches.
Okay, it's sandwich time. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. Tom, good to see you.
Take care, everybody. Have a good night.
We'll catch you later.
Thank you, GM.